You know, 80% of Singaporeans live in HDB flats. All these items and valuable stuff that's passed down from your great-grandfather, your grandfather, it's all thrown away.
We can't keep too many things.
You can't keep everything. We need to protect them, we need to rescue them. It's a rescue mission. Hi, I'm Gary. I'm an MC, a collector and a storyteller, and I run a place called the Retrofactory. This is a 1958 vinyl flexidisc of Singapore's national anthem. Only 3 left in the country. Small furniture items like this vanity mirror, property of Singapore Turf Club before the old premises were torn down. This vintage biscuit tin we picked up in Melbourne in the 1990s. This old valve radio is made from Bakelite. This vintage Halliburton case from the 1950s. I've used it to put my 7-inch single records. These glass jars are reminiscent of the old provision shops back in the 1950s. Each item has its own story and I remember them all.
So Gary, tell me about an adventure you had.
Yeah, adventure. When I was young, I grew up reading Tintin comics.
Okay.
Yeah? Tintin to me was an inspiration because he traveled the world on adventures, hunting for hidden mysteries. So that further was an inspirational element in my life. I grew up amidst the smell of wood shavings, shellac and lacquer because my grandfather was an immigrant from Shanghai and he used to polish pianos. So I would squat beside him in my young days and watch in amazement as he transformed raw wood into something with French polish or very shiny to a showroom standard. At the same time, I used to follow my father on hunting trips in the region, perhaps on a drive in a classic car to Malaysia, Malacca, Penang, Batu Pahat, small towns, Cameron Highlands, everywhere. Sometimes just off the cuff, an impromptu buy in a small village shop, and we'll cut it back to Singapore, restore it, repair it if need be, and it wasn't for profit or it wasn't to make money, it was just to enjoy the beauty of the heritage piece.
That's interesting to know. I guess it's born in your DNA. What inspired you to start the Retrofactory?
Well, I was overseas for a period of time, and when I came back in 1996, I felt there was a big void in Singapore. There was a lack of real, true blue vintage markets. So we started with our very first market back in those days, and that's where it started growing, and we added a lot more things along the way. What should I name this venture? Retro because it's short and easy to remember. Factory because it's not just about collecting things, but it's also about a way of life, a way of a mindset of building, recycling, reusing, aiding sustainability. So a factory does all that. It's like a production house that manufactures heritage for the world to enjoy.
That's such a fantastic idea. So how do you usually select all the items? Do you have your personal rules?
You heard the saying, one man's junk is another man's treasure. Sometimes I get a box of items and I may not personally like it, but when I put it out in the antique center and people come along and the whole box is just sold out.
What's the first thing that catches your attention when you find a piece? It's the design or functionality?
How do you explain something that's innate and inborn? When I see it, I just know it. It could be a part of the design. It could be the artistic lines in the design or the curves on the item. It could be how the mechanism works, or it could be a very dated age patina on the item. As we go further and advance in the collecting hobby, I now try to leave things as original as they can be because it takes decades and decades to build up that aged patina, patinated look, which you cannot replicate. So I like to leave things original, functional, but original. It's not easy being a hunter to hunt down rare, eclectic collectibles, but it's a way of life. I do it every day. As long as I can see the beauty and the story behind the item, I think that's special enough for me to procure and present it.
I realize you have a lot of fans on social media. So what do they normally ask you, or what do they normally looking for?
There's such a wide range of followers and fans on social media, from those who are very young to those in the middle age, or those even older than me. And they always ask me all sorts of questions. Hey uncle, do you want to buy my collection? And ask him what is it, and it's actually something from post 2000.
Wow.
To them, that item is vintage because the young follower is probably maybe 20 years old and born in 2003 or 2008 or something. But to him, that item, which is from the year 2000, is an antique.
Right.
Yeah, in the true definition, an antique is an item that's at least 100 years old. Anything that's younger than 100, we can call it a vintage piece or a classic piece. Yeah, there's no real hard and fast rule. You saw a lot of watches just now at the Katong Square Antique Center.
Yes, very beautiful.
Yeah. You see, I don't wear a watch, but I love watches because time is of the essence, and time is history. A quartz watch runs on batteries.
Right.
You don't fancy that watch anymore, you leave it in a drawer. After 2 years, you take it out, the battery has leaked out and damaged the whole watch. A manual winding watch, you don't fancy it that much anymore, you leave it in a drawer. 3 years later, you take it out, give it a wind, give it a shake, and it starts ticking again. That is the essential difference between a manual winding watch and a quartz watch.
Yeah,
It's a no-brainer which one is a better collectible item.
So do you have a personal favorite piece, or you call it like the greatest find?
Some years back, bought a collection of gramophones from Germany, and one in particular was built in 1912, and it was before the First World War, a long time before the Second World War, but it survived 2 world wars, and Germany was bombed very heavily, and this very old or mature German collector was giving up his hobby, and I bought actually about 15 gramophones and associated accessories, records, needles from him, and shipped them all the way back to Singapore. There is one floor-standing gramophone that is in a very Bauhaus round design, and it's one of very few pieces remaining worldwide, and that is one of my favorite pieces.
Which period of history in Singapore was your favorite?
I'm very personally drawn to the World War II era because it's set in the 1940s. It was a time when the British colonial powers and forefathers were starting to fade, and Singapore started to grow post-war as an independent state. Singapore has got so many diverse ethnicities. Each race and each ethnicity has got such a rich and immense history and culture. Just one example, I like music and records and gramophones. I'm holding one of Singapore's largest gramophone and record collections. Singapore was actually a hub for recording all the music in Southeast Asia back in the 50s and 60s. In fact, artists from the Malay archipelago, from Indonesia, would actually come here to do their recording and press the record in our own local studios. Artists from India be it Tamil or Hindi artists, would also come here to press their records. And you know what saddens me? It saddens me that we were the hub. People fly from all over in the 60s and 70s to do their recording, their record pressing here. Today, there's not a single record pressing plant or machine left in Singapore. You know, 80% of Singaporeans live in HDB flats. We don't have barns, we don't have attics, we don't have basements. Hey, we don't even have storerooms nowadays.
Very limited space, yes.
What's going to happen to all these items and valuable stuff that's passed down from your great-grandfather, your grandfather? It's all thrown away. In fact, every month we have requests to clear houses. People are downsizing, moving from big houses to small apartments, and they just need to get rid and declutter. And a lot of the times they just want to throw away everything into the dumpster. So I find it, what a waste.
Yes.
So part of my mission is to go in there and hunt down what are the items worth preserving, worth keeping, worth restoring.
Tell me more about the Katong Square Anti Centre.
Was so lucky back in 2016 when Katong Square was being conserved and redeveloped. It's actually the site of the old Juchet police station. When I had the chance to gather a group of collectors on a private, personal basis to start our very first vintage market there. I seized it, and it's been 8 years now, and it's evolved to the Katong Square Antique Centre. We open 5 days a week from about lunchtime till dinner time, and it's our empty canvas to preserve vintage and conserve heritage. While the center runs, I spent all my free time hunting down new additions to complement what visitors already called an impressive display, like a museum, like a heritage gallery that reminds them of their childhood. So happy to say that we get so many good comments about the way we have curated the window displays and the cabinet displays.
So what about your regulars? What kind of person do you normally meet in the shop?
We have all sorts of people come through our doors. Some are very true blue, die-hard collectors, and they know specifically what they're looking for. Some are just browsing or novice collectors. Some are just there to hear the story behind the item.
So are you planning to do like more markets, exhibitions, or collaborating with any like more artists?
We do collaborate very frequently, yeah, and we do hold team exhibitions. The recent one was with a group of music fans who love an 80s band, an 80s new wave band called Depeche Mode. And it's got a strong following among the people who are in their 40s and 50s, because as teenagers they grew up in the 80s with the music of Depeche Mode. So what I did was we created customized pin badges as door gifts to give out, and invited the Depeche Mode fan club community in Singapore down to our Katong Square Lifestyle and Vintage Market, where I told our group of DJ friends to just play Depeche Mode music for that 2 hours, invested in some banners, flags, merchandise, and that was the most recent collaboration, and everybody had a great time.
So what do you see yourself in 10 years maybe?
Perhaps what I see myself in 10 years is to have that dream Retrofactory Center that includes and encompasses all these elements, where people can come and buy and sell things, where we can discover new things that people bring in. We can do valuations and appraisals for people who bring their things from home. And we can go rescue salvage missions at houses every day, and bring it all back to the center, and make the dream a reality in 10 years.
What kind of support or space do you think you need in order for you to build the dream factory?
You know, real estate in Singapore is so expensive. We've already achieved so much, but it's not much, with our own private equity and our own savings. In fact, if you ask me, Is this profit driven? Is it for money? I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that every $1 of item we sell, I spend $2 buying more items. It's a passion. It's to fulfill that never-ending hunt for that rare collectible items that would actually inspire more ideas and more creativity. It's not for profit, not for money, more for preserving heritage and to allow the younger generations to learn about more vintage items. As I said, it's a dream and it's really hard to achieve, but simply because real estate in Singapore is so expensive. But
Right.
as a traveler, as a tourist, you go to any major city in the world. You go to London, you got Spitalfields, you got Bermondsey Market. You go to Melbourne, you got Camberwell Market. You go to America, you go to Paris, you go to Spain. Every major city in the world you go to, I can tell you most tourists would make a flea market or a vintage market as a must-do on their bucket list.
Right.
And yet it is so sad that in Singapore, we are such a culturally rich, heritage-rich, small little red dot, and yet we don't have a national flea market. The dream is to have this, all the antique dealers, all the makers, all the artisans, the restorers, the craftsmen, all come together, restoring, repairing like a factory and presenting it so that not just the vendors or the creators can make a living or enjoy their livelihood, but also for the tourists. Yeah.
Right.
If only the people in charge could see this. It's so simple. You took away Sungai Road. It's gone. It's history. 2017. That is 8 years ago. Down to nothing. We don't have a flea market. We don't have a forum, and it is crucially and vitally important. We just need a central place with a reasonable square footage where it can all come true. Everybody has a dream,
Yes. Yes.
and every country needs a flea market.
Right.
It's as simple and as basic as that.
Yeah. Thank you very much for keeping time alive, and I hope your dream will come true pretty soon.
I hope so. So if you're interested in the vintage lifestyle, do come visit us at the Katong Square Antique Centre. It's open from Wednesday to Sunday, 12 to 7 p.m. Also, you can also visit us at Katong Square Lifestyle and Vintage Market. It runs twice a month on the first and third weekends of every month. Also at Katong Square is at 88 East Coast Road, Singapore 423371.
And if you like our episode, please also don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And see you next time.
See you. Bye-bye.